Hello, so today we're going to be looking at the Soviet DP-5 Geiger Counter series. Now I can't remember without looking which this exact model is, but obviously in the title I'll put it. It might be a DP-5B. But the DP-5s were the Soviet series of Geiger counters, and as always these old Geigers seem to come in lovely wooden boxes. So there we go, it does say DP something on the box. I think that's a B there. But here we go, so obviously it's quite a big kit in here. Now, you'll notice with sort of these old Cold War Geiger counters that as they went on, things like the Polish DP-66 and then the DP-75, the cases got smaller and smaller. The DP-5 series are very interesting, but they're kind of quite obsolete. So with the DP-5B, and I'm pretty sure this is the B because it looks like it's been written on in English in pen there, the actual Geiger counter unit itself is quite small, which is nice. The issue is with these, obviously, that, I'll get onto this, the batteries can be a bit of a pain in the arse. So I'll try and explain that now. So we'll go over all the contents of the box. So what you've got in here is, and the electric bit will be a bit different than what it will come to, but yeah, I'll get to that. So you've got your Geiger unit in its leather carry case there, or it might be sort of a plasticky vinyl material, it's quite nice. And there's your Geiger counter itself, obviously poking out the top. Now, if you watch Chernobyl, the TV series, you'll be pretty familiar with these because this was the kind of units they were using. And that, I think some of them had the green ones, which is a different model of DP-5. But yeah, so here, this would have been where the strontium-90 check source would have been for this one. You can see it's been removed. That's because, as regulations, unfortunately, mean that lots of surplus sellers can't send you these with the strontium-90 on, which is a shame. Thankfully, Beastoree did send me some strontium-90. So I was able to test it for some videos, but again it's a bit annoying to come by if you're into nuclear material. Another thing to point out as well is Beastoree sent me this for free, so obviously I'm reviewing it, but you know, as I said, it may end up being a bit of a biased review because I've been sent it for free, but obviously I'll warn you about that in all fairness. So what you get in these kits, if you get a complete kit, is the DP-5 Geiger counter. Now, as I said, I'll get to this. This is a different kind of battery compartment cable for it, so I can actually run it. The headphones, these are a bit nicer than the ones you get with the Polish ones. Rather than a little bit of earphones, these are kind of like ones that actually go over your head. So there's those. Then in this compartment, you've got the original cover for the battery compartment, and this is obviously lovely Bakelite kind of material. Because by default, the batteries in this, it takes some sort of obsolete Soviet battery. It is possible to still get these batteries, but it's a bit of a pain in the arse. So what I'd recommend doing is, if you get the complete kit, changing this bit over to the bit with the croc clips, essentially, and the wire, and running it off a 12-volt battery, because that's the easy way of doing it. So what you also have in here is two carry straps, a little plastic case, not really sure what that's for. It looks kind of like one of these. I don't know if it's just when you're not using this, it's meant to screw into there. That's kind of what it looks like, actually. But there you go. It might just have been... I'll tell you what that was actually for. That was for when you had the alternative thing with the that I've got connected at the moment. That would have been what that sat in. So there's the two straps. Some sort of wire in there. Anyway, some rubber washers or wires. Some bits of plastic bags, and something that's wrapped in papery bits here. Looks like some more washers or something. Yeah, some more rubber washers that have dried out. These bags, as far as I'm aware, the idea of these sort of cling filmy type bags was just you put them over the probe if you didn't want to contaminate the probe with shit. So there's a manual there, and there's the big extension wand there, if that's in frame. I don't know if it quite is. There we go, that should be in frame now, I think. Maybe. Is that in frame? Yeah, it looks just about, but that's the extension wand, like with a lot of Geiger counters you use. The idea being that you don't want to get your hands too close to radioactive materials, so you'd put them in there. So what I'll do is I'll get it all out of the carry case to show you it in a second. So a bit like the Polish ones, what you've got down here is a little pouch you can open, and then this is where all the wire and all that folds in when you're not using it, you know, so it's more convenient to carry, which is a nice feature. The cool thing with a lot of Soviet Geiger counters compared to the American sort of like CDC or CDV, whichever ones they're called, the yellow American Geiger counters, was that these were designed a lot more so people could carry them around. And obviously modern American stuff is a lot more smaller and compact than this, but I mean the old Cold War tech. Some of the probes on these had a bit with strontium-90 in the end. I don't think this is the model that did. because I was trying to play about with this probe and I couldn't find anything in there, and I couldn't get the probe to tick by itself. But on some models of these, they put the strontium in the end of the probe, and it was in a shielded section with either steel or aluminium. And what you'd do is you twist a bit of the probe, and that would act as your check source, so you didn't have to carry around a separate check source. And then obviously when you're using a Geiger, you twist it back again so the strontium is shielded, so you're not going to get readings from the strontium messing up your reports. So that's the case for that. Unlike the Polish ones, it doesn't seem to screw in at the bottom at all. It just seems like you can lift this straight out. Yeah, there's a little bit of a leather strap there keeping it in, so obviously they have got a method so it doesn't fall out if you shake it upside down. So let's get that leather strap off there. There we go. And here is the unit. So that's the case, as you can see, quite compact. It's that nice kind of either leather or sort of vinyl fake leather stuff, which I really like. And here is your Geiger counter itself. So it's actually a very compact unit. As you can see, that's the battery compartment bit there. So what I'll show you is just what that looks like inside, and then we'll put this bit back on it. As I said, I'm going to run it off a 12-volt battery in a minute. Oh, and another thing to notice, this Geiger counter makes a really lovely clicking noise. It's like the complete proper retro click you'd expect from a Geiger counter. So if I get that off there, that's the battery compartment. So it took some sort of obsolete Soviet battery. I'll hold that up so you can read it. It says 1.6 volt. I can read that bit, but I can't read any of the other bits. I've seen it is possible as well in videos. People have put like plastic casings around AA batteries and got them to fit inside and stay snug. So if you do that, it will work. But it's quite easy if you've got the full kit, just because you're probably not going to be carrying around and doing anything portable with this, just to run it off a 12-volt battery. You know, like you can also run your Soviet night vision off of. It seems loads of Soviet tech runs off 12-volt batteries, which is really nice. It's quite an easy thing to screw up this bit, not screw up as in break, but tighten this bit back up. I will say one of the advantages the Soviet Geiger counters have compared to the Polish ones is they are a bit more durable, in a sense. A lot of the stuff on the Soviet stuff does literally seem like it was designed for illiterate peasants to use without breaking. So we'll go put this bit onto a battery, and I'll show you how I'll do that in a minute. We'll get it all wired up, and we'll mess around with some radioactive check sources. This just does beta, gamma and X-rays. It doesn't do alpha, but most sort of civil defence Geigers didn't. And we'll have a mess about with the functions, and it should be quite interesting. So stay tuned, and then we will play about with it. Okay, so let me show you how you wire it up. So I've got a 12-volt battery here. This is the one that I obviously adapted for the night vision. So it's in that sort of carry case, not that I need that. Here are the wires. You could of course just directly connect the wires here to the battery, and that would work. Just to show you, if I put that one here and that one here, that should power up. But obviously I'm going to use croc clips because it's a bit more reliable. So obviously the negative one is the red one, sorry, that's the positive, the negative is the white one. Normally it would be black and red, but for whatever reason with the Soviet ones it's white and red. But it has got a little plus on this one, so you do know that is the positive. But obviously, as far as I'm aware, you can't damage this by putting it on the wrong way, it just won't power on. So what we're going to do is get the positive and get this red cable here, red croc clip, clip that there, put that down there. And we'll do the same with the black one, but we're attaching that to the white cable, because for whatever reason it's white rather than red. Then, yep, this goes on this connector. I'll try and just wedge that on properly so it doesn't come off. There we go. And wedge that one properly there. And when we do the circuit test, it should hopefully power on. So this is a very stiff switch on this one. So is it turning on? Or have I not even got that bit totally tight again? Because this did work when I tried it the other day. It looks like it is warming up now. So what I'll do is I'll just give this a moment to warm up, and then we will test it. I might actually just take the battery out of here so it's a bit more convenient. So yeah, there's the battery. And yeah, what I'll do is just get those croc clips properly onto there. And then I'll cut back, because you need to give these normally like a minute to warm up to take accurate readings. So there's that one on there. There's that croc clip there. Yeah, I can hear it now. Yeah, that's powering up. So what I'll do in a moment is just move the camera so it's in a bit more of a convenient position, and then you can hopefully see the screen displaying everything as and when you know, we put some samples on it, which should be quite interesting. Okay, so I was messing about with the battery for ages and getting nowhere, and then I figured out what my problem was. There's a dial here, which you use, I guess, if you're using it with an electric source rather than the battery, to adjust how much energy is going into it. So what you do is you slowly turn this dial, hear it changing tone, and we've got on the circuit test at the moment. So what we want to do is adjust it. It's pretty fiddly on this bit, so the needle stops in the circuit check area with the battery. Turn it down ever so slightly. We're almost there. Ooh, a bit too far. There we go. That's pretty much on the circuit check now, so it's set up to use. So yeah, that's a bit awkward. So that's obviously the zeroing bit. This is the light, I think, this one, OCB. And this one, obviously, if it's the zeroing switch, won't do anything while it's on circuit check. So what we'll do is we'll put it all the way down to the lowest setting, which is X 0.1. Now, I've got the speaker right next to the camera, so hopefully you can hear that quite well. I want to adjust it so it's not in the way, obviously, of the camera, but it makes a lovely clicking noise, this Geiger counter. So let me just play about with that a bit more. Right, hopefully not much of the strap is in your field of view. So yeah, looking at the view screen, it looks like that's good. So this is the probe. So it basically, that's the beta shield. You lift it up and twist it. When it's like that, there's the beta window. When it's like that, there's aluminium, essentially, or steel, blocking the window. And it would help if I had that in frame, wouldn't it? So there we go, I'll show that again. That's the beta window. So when it's like that, you're in gamma mode. When you lift it up and twist it, you're in beta mode, or gamma and beta. So if you watch the needle on there, hopefully you'll see it if I put some thorium here and put that down on that. You should get a bit of gamma coming from the thorium. I'll put a bit of Fiesta where is now, there as well, so you get a bit more gamma coming out. But obviously not all that much gamma from those, because they emit a bit of gamma, but they're mostly beta sources. So if I put these bits down, what we'll do now is open the beta shield again. And what I'll do is I'll just put these bits here so you can hopefully see them in frame. And with the beta window there we go. Ooh, it's rolled off. So you can hear that ticking away nicely. Now let's use the Fiesta wire. So I'll put that there so it's still hopefully visible in frame, where you can see the dial as well. Let me move that a bit more there. Right, that's there. And then the probe's visible there. Put the Fiesta wire on. See, that's a bit hotter, so it's gone off the scale. So what you do is go up to the next setting. Let's see if the zeroing button works. There we go. Zeroing button works. So press that, and then we'll see where it goes up to. So this is ×1 now, rather than 0.1. And as far as I'm aware, this is a Rontgen per hour and millirontgen per hour meter. As far as I understand, it's millirontgens all the way up to ×1000. There where it says 200, that's where the top of the scale is 200 Rontgen. So what I'm guessing is when it's on the 200, you'd read the bottom scale that goes from 0 to 200. When it's on the top scale, you would be using it on the millirontgen scale. So obviously if it's on ×1000 millirontgens, if it's 5 on there, it would be 5000 millirontgens, as in 5 Rontgen. So that's that. And hopefully you can still hear lovely ticking on there. There's the speaker there, but hopefully that's out of frame there. Right, so yep, that is where it's stopped on about 30 the needle on the ×1. That would be 30 millirontgens per hour from that, as far as I'm aware. Now let's use some strontium 90 because it's more fun. So let's open the case of the strontium 90 on, which would have been its original check source, and let's put the beta probe against that. So off the scale, let's go to ×10 now, and press the reset button. So the needle goes all the way back down, then we'll do it again. So that stopped on about 25 on times 10. Out of interest, let's just go straight up to the 200 scale for the Rontgens. I'm pretty sure that would be the 200 scale there with a little bit just above it. So this is the times 200 scale. And can we even see the needle move? Because if so, this is giving very different readings than the Polish Geiger counter was. Again, it might not be zeroed properly. If I put it onto times 1000, here you can actually see it is obviously moving. So if it's on times 1000, it's at least half a Rontgen per hour, I guess. Because the thing is, on the 200 Rontgen scale, I was expecting on the bottom it to go to about... but actually that would make sense, wouldn't it? Because yeah, if it's giving off about 1 Rontgen per hour, the needle isn't going to be to the 5, is it? Yeah, that's me being stupid. So yeah, that is probably right. You can't really see the needle move there, but it is, you know, if I get the beta window right next to the strontium, you might get a bit more of a result. But it might be because the beta window is quite small on this, you have to get it lined up exactly with the strontium on the higher sensitivities to get a good reading for that. But yeah, if we go to times 1000, then see when the needle stops. I assume you'd still use the top scale for times 1000. And that's about 0.25, I guess. If we go to times 100, hang on a second. I think I've gone over 2 there. There we go, that's times 100 now. I guess the needle should fall off to... yeah, it's on about the 5, isn't it? Oh, there we go, I think I've got it more directly on there now, because it's going up again. Yeah, right, this is exactly where I need to hold it then over the beta window. So let me go back up again to the 200 scale. I'll just press the reset button. Let me try increasing the voltage ever so slightly, and see if that makes it read more efficiently. It shouldn't really have much of an effect as long as it's zeroed properly. But yeah, if I go back to the smaller scales, if you really want to hear it click like crazy, there you go. But there you go, there's the Geiger counter. Now I've got one more cool feature to show you on this. That's the light up screen, which you can't really see all that well from here. But what I will do is both this and this screen glow in the dark. So let me flick this off a second, because I don't need it on to show you this bit. Well, actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll turn the light off in the room. I'll just put this back to the background radiation levels. So we'll get some background radiance, and I'll cover the strontium up. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Rather than irradiating myself, giving myself even more Rontgens. I'll put this here so you get a bit of a gamma reading come off, because that's always fun. So you can hear it ticking a little bit. What I'm going to do now is flick the lights off and get a ultraviolet torch so I can show you how it lights up. Right, so hopefully you can see there's the light on there. If I flick that off, that's the light off. If I flick it on, that's the light on. But if I shine a UV torch over here, hopefully you can see the lovely, lovely green glow this gives off. So I'll flick the light off again now, because we don't need the light on with that. And then if I put that away, yeah, you can see the green glow. Same as with the Polish Geiger counters, but I just really love that. What's nice on this one, of course, is that that glows in the dark as well. So you can see what measurements you're putting on even if it's dark. A bit like, you know, using a watch dial with a luminous bit on there. Similar thing. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure this version is the DP-5B that Beastoree sent me for free. A very cool piece of kit. As said, if you wanted a Geiger counter for practical reasons, I'd probably recommend something like those Polish DP-75s, because they're actually better Geiger counters than this unit, although this one's probably built a bit tougher because it's Soviet. And this one's a bit more compact, but obviously because you can't really get batteries for it anymore, it's a bit more of a pain in the arse to set up, with like the 12 volt and everything. But they are very cool collector's items. So yeah, if you wanted a retro Geiger counter, and especially one that makes a cool ticking noise, as you can probably hear, then this is probably the Geiger counter for you in that regard. Again, I'll just open the beta window so you can hear that ticking again. yeah, there you go. So, Soviet DP-5 Geiger Counter, a very cool thing, very cool collector's item. Thank you for Beastoree to sending it, for sending it to me for free to do a video on. But again, it depends what you want a Geiger counter for. If you wanted a, as I said, a Geiger counter for like practical use, I'd recommend something like a SOX01M. If you want one for very high radiation readings and the cool factor, I'd go for something like the Polish DP-75. And if you wanted a Geiger counter just as a really cool collector's item, this is probably more what you'd be interested in. But there you go.